My mother was queen for ages. You know this could happen, but you don't think about it. That was my life. It was impossible to tell it was unusual. As far as I knew, many people grew up that way. But it was the idea of helping children and the simple approach to health and hygiene. The royal spotlight has danced around gossip, tensions, and secrets for years. Now that stillness is breaking. Princess Anne and King Charles have finally spoken. Unsettling Buckingham Palace. Let's reveal everything. I know that the peoples whose sovereign I am will support me in this. What will they confess? An ancient family secret, a royal treachery, or something more explosive than expected? No doubt, this press release is unscripted. Raw, true, and royally revealed. This will alter everything. The crown-shaking moment for Camilla. Princess Anne has long represented royal discipline and tradition in Buckingham Palace's magnificent facade. She stood out for her commitment and hard effort. But observers saw a change. Not an official statement or tabloid controversy. It started with lingering glances, a steely glare at banquets, and a deliberate refusal to curtsy to Camilla. Palace residents saw the fissures before the public did as tension simmered. Anne never sought attention, but her comments were powerful. The only daughter of Queen Elizabeth, she was a tradition bearer and leading voice. When she eventually spoke, the room listened. It happened at a special royal feast with sparkling chandeliers and elegant talks. Anne said, and the hum stopped. Leaving a shocked silence, she pointed at Camilla and said, "You may wear the crown, but you are queen consort. Nothing more." The words rippled the glittering room like stones in calm water. Camilla's smile evaporated when her fingers reflexively adjusted her diamond bracelet. An action so subtle it would have gone unnoticed on any other night. But not tonight. Tonight, every move counted. Anne's statement wasn't a lapse. It directly challenged Camilla's and King Charles' power. He stood steps away, frozen between the woman he loved and the sister whose loyalty to the late queen was unwavering. The stress in his wineglass grasp whitened his knuckles. This wasn't a private fight. It openly defied the years-long narrative. Queen Elizabeth's genuine sentiments towards Camilla's ascension were rumored for years. Becoming queen consort was official. No more, no less. It was a compromise to calm public opinion and preserve the monarchy's image. At 75, I just remember the queen. That title faded slowly. First murmurs, then formal documentation, until it disappeared from public view. Queen Camilla, not consort. Princess Anne would not let her mother's wishes be ignored while history was altered. The lavish dinner hall felt colder and heavier. Some guests pretended to study their meals, while others glanced at the great double doors as if escape could ease the stress. Palace personnel stood immobile around the walls, their eyes fixed ahead, their bodies tight, realizing that they were seeing the unfathomable, a royal challenge within Buckingham Palace. Anne's critique wasn't personal. They were a marble declaration. This wasn't her only opinion. She repeated the public-remembered Queen's order. Crowns have some drawbacks, yet they're vital. Camilla would only be queen consort. The promise had reassured the nation, and Anne wanted it honored. Despite whispers and fleeting glances, Camilla raised her glass in a quiet toast to defy them. Her guests lifted their drinks almost out of habit, but their eyes betrayed them. Some uneasily glanced at Anne, some at King Charles, silently evaluating the ramifications of what had happened. Everyone in that room understood the monarchy's delicate cohesiveness had crumbled. But Anne was unimpressed. Her gaze was steady as her hands lay in her lap. She spoke what she needed to say, and the repercussions would go beyond those gilded walls. This was only the beginning. For behind the pristine marble and magnificent chandeliers were long-buried mystery, secrets that could topple the monarchy. But what if the spirit of the past lingered, ready to return? To understand Princess Anne's rage, we must go back decades to the name no one mentions anymore. Who is Andrew Parker? Untold betrayal shattered the crown. Before being Prince Charles's partner, Camilla was in a royal love story with Princess Anne. Prior to scandal, Camilla was dating well-connected military officer Andrew Parker B.S. First royal woman to love Andrew was Anne. Due to royal tradition, their deep friendship terminated abruptly. Andrew was Catholic, and the Church of England outlawed royal Catholic marriages. The monarchy, following protocol, rejected their union. Anne surrendered her dreams for the throne out of duty. Camilla married Andrew, Anne's lover, against tradition. It appeared to the public as another royal chapter. Anne was hurt by betrayal. That was just the beginning. Years later, Camilla became Prince Charles's lover and wife, not Anne's adversary. Their wedding radiated anxiety. Princess Anne's posture was chilly than Balmoral breezes. Her stiff stance and detached eyes were obvious. She was there on duty, yet her presence felt like a silent protest. Anne's intransigence towards Camilla spoke volumes. The strain persisted. Anne and Andrew stayed close through royal obligations. Even courteous exchanges aroused unease. Anne's persistence unnerved Camilla. Now a royal, Anne was openly disgusted. Anne's secret disobedience intensified once Camilla became queen consort. She broke tradition by not curtsying, congratulating, or acknowledging Camilla's new title. Royal watchers noticed soon. Few realized that Anne outranked Camilla by birth and decades of service. She wouldn't lie about it. Anne's defiance went beyond herself. She also owed it to her late mother, Queen Elizabeth. In 2022, the Queen publicly accepted Camilla as queen consort when Charles assumed the throne, but court rumors said otherwise. Queen Elizabeth's assent was reportedly conditional. Besides being ceremonial, consort was a border. I'm hopeless because I was a terrible actor in school and never learned to imitate. But a reminder that Camilla will never match Elizabeth in legacy or adoration. Some, including Princess Anne, heard Queen Elizabeth's actual feeling. During one heated exchange, Anne allegedly confronted Camilla directly, saying, "You are not queen, you are queen consort. My mother made that clear." Witnesses recalled how Camilla's composure faltered, her face going pale under Anne's icy words. This wasn't just a personal jab, it was the start of a deep royal fracture. After Queen Elizabeth's death, Camilla suddenly dropped consort from her title. No announcement was made, but the change was significant for Anne. It felt like a betrayal of her mother's legacy. Anne's silent protest then turned public, erupting during a grand banquet where her words left the room in stunned silence. Palace aides whispered that the Queen's instructions about Camilla's title had been clear, yet somehow it changed. The burning question now isn't just about Camilla's role, it's about King Charles's decision to allow it. If Anne knew her mother's wishes, surely Charles did too. So why did he permit Camilla to become queen without a fight? Was it love, guilt, or fear of damaging the monarchy's fragile unity? But as whispers of betrayal echo through the palace halls, the pressure builds, placing King Charles in a state of dilemma. If the Queen's wishes were ignored, how would he justify it? And more importantly, could his silence unravel the very fabric of the monarchy? Stay tuned for his response. Waving to the thousands of people who are thronging the Mall, who have braved the rain and are here to witness a historic moment. King Charles's impossible choice. Behind the grand walls of Buckingham Palace, King Charles finds himself trapped between two powerful forces of love and legacy. To the world he appears regal and composed, the embodiment of royal tradition, but behind closed doors, he is a man haunted by an impossible choice to honor his mother's wishes or protect his wife's fragile place in history. For nearly 2 decades, Charles worked tirelessly to reshape Camilla's public image. The woman once branded as the other woman by the press, gradually transformed into a symbol of stability and grace. Through carefully staged appearances and meticulously planned events, Camilla's reputation shifted. She stood beside Charles at every major occasion, her image softened by time and strategic optics. To many it seemed that Camilla had finally secured her place within the monarchy. But for Charles, the shadow of his mother's will loomed large. Queen Elizabeth's wishes were never ambiguous. Camilla was to be queen consort, nothing more. It was not a suggestion, but a command born out of tradition and deep-rooted royal expectations. Charles knew this, he had always known, yet out of love and loyalty, he tried to walk a path no king had ever dared tread. He allowed Camilla's status to grow publicly, standing by her side with unwavering support. Her title evolved subtly, almost quietly, from queen consort to simply queen. It was a gradual shift, but a significant one. But Charles's private actions told a different story. In quiet moments, he began to elevate William and Catherine, positioning them more prominently at royal events, and entrusting them with greater responsibilities. Their increased visibility was not accidental. It was a signal, a gesture of respect to his mother's legacy, and perhaps an attempt to appease Princess Anne, who had never hidden her disdain for Camilla's new role. Anne's coldness was unmistakable, especially after the grand banquet, where she openly refused to acknowledge Camilla as anything more than queen consort. Her silent defiance was a breach of royal protocol. Yet Charles did nothing. He did not confront Anne, did not demand respect, did not silence her, because deep down Charles knew she was right. Queen Elizabeth had made her wishes clear, and Anne had simply spoken them out loud. Within the palace, Camilla's absence from key decision-making circles became apparent. Her influence, once growing, now seemed to wane. She remained by Charles's side, but her presence felt more ceremonial than substantial. It was as if the palace itself had decided to quietly honor Queen Elizabeth's wishes, even if it meant sidelining the new queen. For Charles, the agony is palpable. He is not just a king, he is a son bound by his mother's legacy, a husband loyal to his wife, and a father with an eye on the future. His silence is not out of weakness, but out of conflict, a desperate hope that the storm would pass on its own. But while Charles remained still, Anne acted with the precision of a seasoned royal, unafraid to challenge Camilla's growing influence. King Charles and Princess Anne's royal journey. Long before they were known as King Charles and Princess Anne, they were simply Charles and Anne, two siblings running through palace halls, laughing and learning away from the public eye. Stripped of their grand titles, they shared a bond that no crown could forge. To the outside world, their childhood seemed like a fairy tale. Majestic castles, grand carriages, and glittering ceremony. But behind the golden facade lay a different reality, one marked by rigid rules, endless lessons, and the heavy expectations of royalty. From the moment they could walk, Charles and Anne were taught how to wave, speak, and behave like royal. For Anne, the rigid structure only fueled her independent spirit. Even as a young girl, she displayed a fierce determination and sharp mind, unafraid to speak her thoughts. She wasn't just a follower of royal protocol, she questioned it, standing out as someone who understood that royalty wasn't merely about luxury, but about duty and sacrifice. Charles, on the other hand, carried the heavy weight of being the future king. Sensitive and thoughtful, he often struggled with the immense pressure of his destiny to for this part of the world, and hoped that I survived long enough to come battlefield and see you all. Thank you. But in those moments, Anne was always there, steady, strong, and unflinching. Their connection didn't need grand words. A shared glance or a comforting nudge spoke louder than any declaration. Where Charles hesitated, Anne charged forward with confidence. Where he doubted, she stood firm. Their bond became a silent strength, one that didn't need public display to be understood. Their childhood was filled with small but powerful moments, riding horses across Balmoral's sprawling grounds, whispering secret jokes during long ceremonies, and comforting each other when the weight of their titles grew too heavy. They were more than just royal siblings. They were each other's pillars in a world where loyalty was often shadowed by protocol. Despite the grandeur of palace life, both Charles and Anne knew that royal titles came with invisible chains. Growing up in splendor didn't mean freedom. It meant a life dictated by tradition and duty. Yet, amid royal expectations, they found solace in their bond, a bond that would later prove unshakable as they navigated the storms of royal life together. But as new faces entered the palace and roles began to shift, tension brewed beneath the surface. And that brings us to how Camilla truly sees Kate Middleton within the royal palace.
Could this perception reveal hidden fractures that threaten the monarchy's delicate balance? Stay tuned. The Ghost of Diana and the Rise of Kate. To Camilla, Kate Middleton wasn't just the new Princess of Wales. She was a living reminder of Diana. From the moment Kate stepped into the royal spotlight, the comparisons were instant. Her elegance, grace, and natural charm stirred memories of the one woman Camilla could never escape. Princess Diana. I made many friends who I often see, and in spite of what Miss Rudd and my other teachers may have thought at the time, I did actually learn something. For Camilla, the resemblance wasn't just uncanny, it was haunting. Kate may not have been born into royalty, but she carried herself with the poise of someone who, her effortless grace captivated the public, and her popularity soared, even surprising Queen Elizabeth. Behind palace walls, the Queen spoke highly of Kate's loyalty, poise, and ability to remain scandal-free, an achievement in a world where royal missteps are headline news. For Camilla, it felt like déjà vu. She had spent decades clawing her way from the other woman to an accepted royal figure, only to watch Kate earn the public's affection with ease. This silent competition simmered beneath the surface, creating a tension that only grew with time. According to palace whispers, Camilla suddenly reminded staff of her seniority during events. One particularly sharp gesture reportedly came when Kate's parents, Michael and Carol Middleton, were instructed to enter through the servants' entrance during a royal event. It wasn't spoken of publicly, but the insult was deeply felt. Kate, however, responded not with confrontation, but with quiet defiance. When Camilla became queen consort, Kate subtly stopped curtsying. There were no grand gestures, no dramatic announcements, just a silent rebellion that didn't go unnoticed within palace walls. It was a move that spoke volumes, deepening the quiet divide between the two. The late Queen Elizabeth's treatment of both women only widened that gap. While Camilla was cautiously accepted, Kate was embraced with genuine warmth. The Queen saw in Kate the future she longed for, stable, scandal-free, and deeply admired by the public. For Camilla, it was a bitter pill to swallow. Despite her decades beside Charles, she would always carry the weight of being the other woman, while Kate effortlessly stepped into Diana's shoes without ever asking for the public's love. The tension between Kate and Camilla stretched further as royal duties grew. Tradition called for Camilla to mentor Kate, guiding her through the intricate maze of royal expectations. But that guidance never came. Some said it was bitterness, others whispered it was fear. Whatever the reason, the silence between them only grew heavy. While the public rallied behind Kate, William's lingering wounds from his mother's death only deepened the divide. To him, Camilla wasn't just his father's wife, she was the woman who had replaced his mother. William was just 15 when Diana died, and the loss left scars that would never fully heal. One of his most candid interviews ever, Britain's Prince William is talking about the impact of losing his mother. He's hoping to help others by sharing his very personal thoughts. To him, Diana wasn't merely a royal figure, she was warmth and truth amid palace shadow. He knew of the betrayal, the whispers, the cold silences, and he knew their source, Charles and Camilla. When Camilla re-entered royal life, not as a secret, but as Charles's public partner, William did not embrace her, he tolerated her. Insiders described their relationship as formal and distant. Camilla reportedly feared their first meeting, delaying it as long as she could. When it finally happened, William was polite, but his eyes gave everything away. That frosty distance has never thawed. The cracks widened when rumors spread that Camilla or those close to her had leaked information about William and Harry to the press. True or not, the damage was done and William's trust was shattered. Years later, whispers emerged that Camilla had privately expressed disdain for Kate, calling her too common, too middle class, too adored by the press. Her frustration only deepened when Queen Elizabeth embraced Kate warmly. To William, it wasn't just disrespect, it was history repeating itself. Another woman cast aside more whispers within palace walls, and once again Camilla at the heart of it. But this time William wasn't a powerless child, he was the future king. What has impressed you most about her? I think, just the qualities that are, essential for somebody in a leadership role. Every step he took with Kate, every appearance was part of a calculated vision for the monarchy. one where Camilla's influence would be a shadow of the past. So, how did Kate Middleton transform not just herself, but the very image of the monarchy? And what did that mean for Camilla's place in the royal legacy? Keep watching. The Unlikely Path to Royalty. When Kate Middleton first walked through the gates of St. Andrews University, she was just another student. With dreams and ambitions, the idea of becoming the future Queen of England seemed like a distant fairy tale. But fate had its plans. It was in those historic halls that she crossed paths with Prince William. Away from the prying eyes of the press and royal expectations, their relationship began quietly, rooted in friendship, laughter, and shared experiences. Their bond grew stronger with each passing day, blossoming into something far more significant than anyone had predicted. But as with every fairy tale, there were trials. In 2007, news broke of their unexpected split. Critics and tabloids were quick to declare Kate's royal dreams shattered. For many, it seemed like her brief brush with royalty had come to an end. But what followed stunned the nation and the palace. Kate didn't crumble. She returned stronger, more composed, and more determined than ever. The breakup taught her a lesson that few royal hopefuls ever grasp: how to endure the storm without losing herself. Her calm grace under pressure caught the attention of Queen Elizabeth, who reportedly admired Kate's resilience, loyalty, and poise amidst media chaos. Behind palace walls, Kate began what insiders called a royal boot camp. Guided by Samantha Cohen, the Queen's trusted aide, she was taught the delicate art of diplomacy, the expectations of public engagement, and the intricate nuances of royal life. It wasn't about glamour, it was about grit, and Kate embraced it all with quiet determination. As Kate stepped further into the spotlight, the media pressure only grew. Headlines constantly compared her to Diana, scrutinizing every dress, every appearance, and every gesture. But instead of bending under the weight, Kate carved out her own path. It is important, however, to remind ourselves of the big picture. As we meet here today, what are we trying to improve by focusing our efforts on mental health? She championed causes close to her heart, such as early childhood development, mental health awareness, and modern motherhood. She wasn't just Williams, she was becoming a leader in her own right. Motherhood only strengthened her role. With each public appearance alongside Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis, Kate presented a new image of royalty, one that was warm, relatable, and grounded. Her dedication and authenticity earned her the Queen's respect, cementing her place not just in the family, but in the hearts of the public. Symbolically, Kate began wearing pieces from both Diana and Queen Elizabeth's jewelry collections. To many, it was a message of unity. She wasn't replacing anyone. She was honoring both legacies while building her own. The crowds now cheer not just for her title, but for her presence. She's no longer an outsider. She's the embodiment of the monarchy's next chapter. But as Kate's star rose, tensions grew behind palace walls. Her effortless charm and genuine connection with the public highlighted Camilla's struggles to gain acceptance. As the layers of royal secrecy begin to unravel, what truths are still hidden behind the palace walls? And when the time comes, will they reveal everything? Share your thoughts in the comments section. Don't forget to like and subscribe.